Hi everyone, welcome back to the First Time Gardener videos. Today I'm going to show you how to start tomatoes and peppers indoors. Now when it comes to starting seeds indoors, timing is critical. So today I'm going to share with you how to avoid timing mistakes when starting seeds indoors, especially here with tomatoes and peppers. I started these tomatoes and peppers indoors a couple of weeks ago, which is just about the right timing for me here in Southern California. But timing is where a lot of first-time gardeners mess up. If you start your seeds indoors too early, then your plants are overgrowing your house, they're outgrowing their containers, the roots are getting stunted, your plants could die, and you're trying to keep them alive for 3 or 4 months. But if you start too late, you don't have transplants ready to put into the garden when the weather gets warm. So if this sounds like you, put your hand up, and you know what, don't feel too badly because I've made this mistake many a time myself. Now, if you're a first-time gardener and it's your first time starting seeds indoors, we start our seeds indoors because that way we're ahead of the game. When the weather gets warm, we're going to have our own transplants to pop into the garden. So it puts you a jump ahead. You're also saving a ton of money. Transplants can cost $3 to $4 at the garden center. When you start from seed, you can grow a wide variety of vegetables and save a ton of money at the same time. Plus that, it's just so much fun to have plants growing inside, especially if it's too cold to plant outside where you live right now. How do you know when to start your seeds indoors, especially tomatoes and peppers? Well, it depends on a couple of things. The first thing is the type of vegetable that you're growing and how quickly it grows. Now, tomatoes and peppers are a warm weather vegetable, which means that they thrive when the nighttime temperatures are in the 50s and 60s, and the daytime temperatures are the 70s, 80s, and 90s. So basically, the spring and summertime is what these veggies love. Besides the type of vegetable that you're starting indoors, it also depends on where you live. If you live in a cold winter climate, you want to start your tomatoes and peppers indoors about 6 to 8 weeks before your last frost date, which you can find that on almanac.com. It has a really handy frost date calculator. Just type in your zip code. It'll pull up when your last frost date is. Now, if you live in a southern climate like I do, we don't get frost. So you kind of want to know when the average temperatures warm up into the 70s, 80s, and 90s during the daytime. And you can find that information over on weather.com. And don't worry, I'll put all those links in the video description so you're not confused. And I also have a list of cool weather vegetables, warm weather vegetables, the temperatures in which they thrive in my book, Organic Gardening for Everyone. So this is a great resource for you as a first-time gardener. We're going to be growing our tomatoes and peppers indoors about 6 to 8 weeks before we get them planted outside. So don't start too early. 3, 4, 5 months ahead of time, your little seedlings are going to outgrow their little containers. The roots will get stunted. Most likely, they're not going to make it. So timing is really critical here. Now that we covered timing, let's get our seeds started. And this is always my favorite part. You're going to need a couple of things when you're starting seeds indoors: some containers and some soil. Now, I really like to keep it quick, simple, inexpensive when starting seeds indoors and help you guys do the same. So what I do is I just look around the house, see what I can find that I can repurpose for containers. Some of my favorites are this almond milk container, this meat tray, an egg carton, plastic cups, deli containers, and then recycled little 6-pack trays that you get at the garden center. Now, whatever container that you're growing in, very important, it's got to have holes in the bottom for drainage. So I just went through with a drill and poked holes in the bottom of all of these. For our tomatoes and peppers today, I'm going to use these recycled 6-packs from the garden center. We'll save these for another video. You'll notice here that I have my 6-pack seed cells in these little aluminum foiled pans. That way I can set them under my grow lights without things leaking all over. And you can grab these at most grocery stores. So what we're going to do here is we're using our DIY seed starting mix that I made on the last video. So go back and watch that video for exactly how to make it. But it's a nice fine seed starting mix, which is perfect for germinating those little tiny seeds. It's got coco coir, vermiculite, and worm castings. I absolutely love the feel of it on my hands, and the seeds love it too. So we're going to just fill up our 6-packs here with the soil. Fill them all the way up to the top. And what I do here is it's called thumb packing. I just pack the soil down a little bit so there's no big air pockets. And then put some more soil in the seed cells. Thumb pack again. Just continue repeating that until your seed cells are completely full. Now, if you're a first-time gardener, you might be wondering, how do I know what tomato and pepper seeds to plant? Well, guess what? I've made it easy for you. I've got my spring garden seed collection. There's 13 varieties in here. And I created this collection especially for first-time gardeners who have no idea where to get started. It makes it really easy. So two of my favorite tomatoes I have in here are the Marglobe and the Golden Jubilee tomato. You guys are gonna love these. The Golden Jubilee is a beautiful orange tomato, so sweet, and it's a great slicing tomato. I like to have it in salsas. It's just so, so delicious. So I'm gonna pour 6 seeds or so in my hand here. And I'm gonna plant 2 little seeds in each cell. Now you can see how teeny tiny these seeds are. So I'm just gonna drop 2, whoops, see there I dropped an extra one, no big deal. I'm gonna pick up another one. I like to put them in the corner of the cells. That way I actually get 2 little seedlings out of each seed cell. And you wanna ensure yourself plenty of seeds to germinate here, which these have a great germination rate, but it's always good to see several different seedlings coming up. And you're gonna have fun dreaming about these beautiful orange tomatoes while they're growing indoors. And the next tomato we're gonna plant is called the Marglobe tomato. This is a delicious red tomato. Homegrown tomatoes are just so amazing. Super, super tasty. There's just nothing like it. Now, another big mistake that a lot of first-time gardeners make is that they plant their seeds too deep. So the general rule of thumb is you wanna plant your seeds about 2 to 3 times as deep as your seed is wide. So since the tomato seeds are very, very tiny, I'm gonna use a pencil here to just barely poke them down into the soil and then make sure they're covered up. So go through and do this for the tomatoes. And that way you have a really good chance of them germinating. If you poke them down in too deep, then they're gonna have a tough time pushing their way up through the soil to germinate. If you make a mistake here and there, don't worry about it. We're in this together. I'm gonna be here to help you through it. And gardening is all about just digging in, experimenting, and learning as you grow. So here I'm just kind of tamping down on the top of the soil just to kind of make sure that they're all covered. I'm gonna pop my label in, got the name of the tomato on the front, the date on the back. And the next tomato we're gonna plant is called the Marglobe tomato. This is a delicious red tomato. Homegrown tomatoes are just so amazing. Super, super tasty. There's just nothing like it. Now I did pre-moisten the soil before I put it into the seed starting trays, but what I'm doing now is just spraying the tops of the trays here with water just to kind of settle things down in there a little bit. And then while your seedlings are germinating, you don't want to let the top of the soil dry out. Just keep them moist with a spray bottle and just check on them every day. Now for the peppers. If you've never grown peppers, you are in for a treat. We've got California Wonder Pepper and Hungarian Hot Wax Pepper, both from my spring garden seed collection. So let's do the California Wonders first. Those are a gorgeous sweet pepper. They're nice and bright red. Oh, they're just so delicious, so pretty. Jerry and I love to grill them in the summertime, and we're just gonna pop seeds in our 6-packs this exact same way. You can see the pepper seeds are just a little bit bigger. So we've got 2 seeds in each cell here, 1 in each corner. Give them a little room to grow. Gonna poke them down into the soil. Again, not too deep. These are pretty small seeds. Now for the hot peppers. These are Hungarian hot wax peppers. Whew, they are hot. So if you like hot peppers, these are the ones for you. Now, a little note about peppers. They do take longer to germinate than tomatoes, so just be aware of that. Gardening is a great way to learn patience, but hot peppers can take even a little bit longer, sometimes even 2 to 3 weeks to germinate. So just be patient, hang in there. They're gonna come up when they're good and ready, but I'm just popping the seeds in, just like we did with the sweet peppers. And the Hungarian hot wax is a longish yellow type pepper, and it is really good in salsas. So we're just gonna poke these little seeds down into the soil, give them a little spray, and our peppers are planted. We're gonna put our seed trays under our grow lights in just a moment. But one thing you need to know first about peppers is they like bottom heat for the best chance of germination. So what I use is a heat mat. And it's not mandatory to have a heat mat, but it's going to save yourself a lot of frustration, and you'll have a lot better chance of your peppers germinating quicker. So we're going to pop our seeds under the grow lights. Now, if you don't know how to get grow lights set up, go back and watch the first video in the First Time Gardener series and get yours set up. It's really a piece of cake. So here we're setting our peppers on the heat mat. Now, as far as how long you leave your grow lights on for, 18 hours a day on, 6 hours a day off. I have them on a timer. But you put your heat mat on for 24 hours a day. And for peppers, I like to leave them on the heat mat for about a month or so until they get a couple of sets of true leaves, and we'll talk about that in a future video. So let's pop the tomatoes over here under the grow lights. If your house is kind of cold, we keep our house usually in the 60s in the wintertime. You might want to use a heat mat for your tomatoes also. Not mandatory, but it will help them grow just a little bit bigger. Got some on my tomato, a heat mat under my tomatoes right next to it here. But these ones I don't have it for. So it'll be interesting to see the difference in how quickly they germinate without a heat mat. Again, 18 hours a day on, 6 hours a day off, and make sure you have your lights on a timer. We've got our tomatoes and our peppers planted. So exciting. Now what I want you to do is subscribe so you don't miss the next step in starting our seeds indoors. Now, you're going to need some seeds. So head over to CaliKimGardeningHome.com, grab a spring garden seed collection so you have what you need to grow along with me. When you purchase a spring garden seed collection, you're going to get a kale seed collection and one of my new ones for free. Now, a lot of people like to read during the week and then come back and watch the videos on the weekend. So grab a copy of my first book, Organic Gardening for Everyone. What I've done is I've bundled it together with the Spring Garden Seed Collection into a seed book bundle. When you buy them as a bundle, you get $5 off, so it's a really good deal. Now, I am coming out with a second book in the spring called The First Time Gardener Raised Bed Gardening. And when you pre-order my book over on my website, you get $10 free on me, a $10 coupon to any of your seed collections, so it's a really great deal as well. If you decided you're going to jump into the First Time Gardener series, let me know in the comments, and I'll be sure to answer you back. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you on the next video.